We are in what is called post-industrial era. Every era will have a specific characteristic. In the agrarian era, it is the land that produces wealth. In the industrial era, it's the capital that produces wealth. But now today we are in post-industrial era. Here, it's not the capital, it's not the land, but it's sheer brain power. It's sheer talent creates wealth. That's how from nowhere, when Nizam of Hyderabad was the richest person on earth at one point of time. Later in industrial era, Henry Ford became the richest person. Now, from nowhere, Bill Gates becomes the richest person on earth, starting his company from the garage of his father's house. How does it happen? Or Zuckerberg, how he becomes such a rich person on earth? Okay, it's just not richness, but basically production of wealth and creating lakhs and millions of jobs for many people and improving the lifestyles, the comfort for mankind. This is all possible in post-industrial era because of the talented and creative individuals. Talented and creative individuals produce wealth. They become the source of success, the source of inspiration in this present era. Another important characteristic we have to remember about the present post-industrial era is that jobs become shiftable in post-industrial era. In industrial era, it's brick and mortar industry, huge factories. Once a factory is established at a particular place, see, they were established in Europe, they were established in America, they remain there because once you establish a factory, you cannot relocate to another place that easily. You can't abandon the huge resources you have built up there. But in a post-industrial era, as we all know, it's a service sector dominant industry. It is basically plug and play industry. Today, a job which is available in Redmond, in Silicon Valley, gets shifted to Hong Kong or Singapore, which provides better facilities, better living conditions. From there, the same jobs get shifted to Bangalore, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Chennai, any of these places. That's how the concept of jobs getting Bangalore has come. That means a job that is originally available in America got shifted to Bangalore. Jobs get Bangalore. So this kind of a new concept is basically plug and play industry. This plug and play industry, okay, jobs become shiftable and cities compete with each other. Like earlier nations used to compete with each other. Now cities themselves are competing with each other. Whichever city provides better living conditions, better air quality becomes an attractive destination for investments, attractive destination for these talented and creative individuals. They will be attracted to those kind of cities. So we have to realize our position. Our Honorable Chief Minister Shri KCR has been talking about making Hyderabad a global city. Vishwa Nagaram cheyali Hyderabad nani cheppesi. Vishwa Nagaram ela chestam. Okay, for that you have to have better living conditions. One of the most important things, apart from many other things, is that the traffic and transportation solution that you require for a city. Okay, here from one place to another place to go, it takes a lot of time, and because of individual vehicles, if you don't have good public transportation system, individual vehicles proliferate. Everybody wants to buy initially a smaller vehicle like a motorcycle or a scooter. Then he gets more income. He switches over to car. If everybody switches over to car, today in India, out of 1,000 people, only 7 people have cars. Okay, but if you see, and we are at the initial levels of urbanization, only 35% of Indian population is in the urban areas, in the towns and cities. But if you see all over the world, the trend is that almost 80%, 90% of the country live in urban areas. Okay, if that happens, imagine the kind of nightmare Indian cities are going to have. Now itself, Hyderabad, more than 10 million population, more than 1 crore population, the kind of problems we are facing. Okay, congestion everywhere. We are not able to move from one place to another place easily. It is taking a lot of time, precious of resources we are losing. More than that, because of the increasing pollution levels, because of these proliferation of private vehicles, pollution levels are increasing. As a result, our lifespan is coming down. Most of us were born, your generation is not at least our generation, most of us, we were born, all these are villages, okay? We used to have excellent free air, but today the whole thing has changed. The price we are paying for living in a city, leaving the village and staying in a city is that 2 years of our lifespan is reducing, plus all sorts of diseases. How many people are suffering from cancer and many other things? That's all because of the pollution levels. So you need a good public transportation system. But what kind of public transportation system is required is important. Initially, roads can take up to a good bus-based rapid transit systems can take care of the city's transportation needs up to a certain extent, but beyond that it becomes impossible, okay? Because in terms of energy efficiency, our fossil fuels are reducing day by day, so we can't afford, see, some wise person has said, after a few centuries, our progeny would look back and say that how foolishly man lived on earth and ruined this earth, okay? As if we had another planet to go, we are spoiling this mother earth. We can't do that. Fossil fuels, we can't waste like that. So in terms of energy efficiency, rail transport is 5 times energy efficient when compared to road transport. In terms of space is also equally important, okay? Broad criterion in transportation engineering is that one rail line is equal to 7 bus lanes or 24 car lanes. You can't, no city in the world can afford, have 24 car lanes on one side and 24 car lanes on the other side. You can't widen roads like that. There is a limitation, so you have to go for a rail-based mass transit system, what is called metro rail in India, okay? But these metro rails are highly expensive solutions. To give you an example, it will cost 200 crore per kilometer. Our project is costing about 200 crore per kilometer. It's an elevated one. If you have to now start it, it will cost about 250 crore per kilometer of elevated transit system. If you have to go underground, it will cost anywhere between 500 to 600 crore rupees per kilometer. Okay? Based on this, Planning Commission estimated that the famous $1 trillion figure, okay, if India has to develop at the present rate of growth rate, India has to spend in 12th plan, okay, $1 trillion, or to convert into Indian rupees, 60 lakh crore rupees on the infrastructure to make India the way it is progressing at the present stage. McKinsey similarly has estimated that $1.2 trillion are required for cities alone in the next 2 decades if we have to maintain these cities, livable cities. But at the same time, it's a humongous challenge, so you can't spend, because limited kitty, government will have limited resources, that limited resources cannot be spent only on one. Okay? So you need innovation, you need innovative financial engineering that's required. So Planning Commission said that 50% of this 60 lakh crore rupees should come from the private sector through PPP route, public-private partnership route. Then now my experiment starts. Nobody in the world has done a mass transit system, a metro rail project of this magnitude in public-private partnership. There are about 200 metros in the world. These 200 metros are built with government money, with taxpayers' money. Okay? And in many of these things, they're incurring losses. Only 4 metro systems in the world are making money. They are Singapore, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Taipei. All of the systems are losing heavy amounts. They are subsidized by governments because they have to keep their cities livable. They have to reduce the pollution levels. They have to see that congestion is not there. So how do you build a system like this? When this challenge was given to me, when we wanted to build a metro, when every city in the world, there are 200 metros as I mentioned actually, Delhi Metro became a success. Delhi Metro was built, my guru, Dr. Sridharan, I worked with him in Konkan Railway, a brilliant engineer. He proved to the world the capability of Indians. A greenfield mass transit system can be built by Indians to world-class standards in a short period of, 65 kilometers he built in 7.5 years, and it was a record when India was taking about 20 years to build even a small thing. He proved that. Then I also got inspired. Why don't we build a metro in Hyderabad? Then there is no money because our priorities are different. We have irrigation projects, we have social welfare schemes, we have any number of things actually. There's no money with the state government. So I hit upon this idea that why don't we build a metro rail project is a PPP, public-private partnership. Oh, there was heckling all of this because it's like that. Nobody has done in the world. So this fellow thinks that he's a hero and he wants to build a metro with public-private partnership. Okay, people laughed at us, especially when the first experiment, METAS experiment, failed. Why I'm mentioning this, actually, see, my dear young students, you have to be prepared. First of all, you have to have your benchmark will have to be higher. Okay, you have to keep on increasing your benchmark higher and higher and higher. Okay, when you're aiming very high, see, if you want to jump at this level, you can jump. If you want to jump at this level, you can. But if you want to jump at that level, you have to be prepared for failure. Don't be afraid of failure. First of all, you take bold decisions, have courage of conviction, and try to do things which nobody else has done. Otherwise, the humankind wouldn't have happened. The progress humankind has achieved would not have been possible but for some innovative guys, some guys who have taken bold, risky steps. So you have to be prepared for that. But at the same time, be prepared for failure. People may laugh at you, people may heckle you, doesn't matter. Ultimately, history will prove that those who are bold, those who have got a courage of conviction, ultimately they will be the successful people, and the rest of the world admire them, adore them. That's what is going to happen. So when I started Metro Rail project, initially, failures, I stared at me. Everybody, there used to be writings in the newspapers, all sorts of funny things actually saying that, and say, this is not happening, that's not happening, this project will never take off. All the experts of the world actually have written off this project because nobody has done it. I said, just because the fact that nobody has done it, it doesn't mean that it can't be done. Otherwise, before Yuri Gagarin, has any human being entered space? Okay, before Neil Armstrong, and has any human being set foot on moon? So they have taken the risky step. Similarly, I have taken a small baby step. But this step is going to big jump in history, human history. This is what I have mentioned it. And today, the experts who have written off this project, they are seeing everywhere, all the roads of Hyderabad, you are seeing how beautifully these metro rail structures, Hyderabad metro rail structures are coming up.